Okay, in this video, we're going to look at simplifying some algebraic expressions by combining like terms and using the distributive property. Now, when we're talking about a term basically involves three components. You have a coefficient of some sort, you have a base, and you have an exponent, especially when you start seeing variables in play. Technically, a whole number is a term in itself because it has no variables attached to it. And so the way I'm going to identify what like terms are is they have to have the same base and the same exponent. So to be considered like terms, you must have the same base and the same exponent. And so let's do an example here of just simply combining like terms. And we'll do two of these right here in a row. So if I'm looking at a problem, I want to identify all the things that look alike in terms of uh, the variables they have attached to them. Well, I see 4 and I see a -7. You also have to include the signs. So I can go ahead and put those together because they are alike in terms of they don't have any k's. So 4 added to it a -7, that gives me a -3. And now we look at the k's. Well, the k's here, I have -9 and I have positive k. So -9k and a positive k, I put them together, so -9 plus 1, that gives me -8k's. So there's our simplified form here. So I'm looking at this, so I'm going to put together all of my like terms. Now, the way you start this, it doesn't really matter. Usually, if you're looking at a final exam or standardized test, they're going to ask you to write it in a standard form, which is going to have the largest exponent first. So if I'm scanning this problem, the largest exponent that I see is a 2. So I'm going to start by identifying all of my terms that are degree 2, which basically just means they have exponents of 2. So I have a -2r squared and I have a 6r squared. When I put them together, the term part stays the same. So I just want to know how many r squareds do I have? -2 plus 6 gives me +4. So I have 4r squareds. Now I move to the next component. So let me change colors. Or the next term. So the next term that I see in terms of the exponent size of r is I have a 4r here and I have a +2r here. And so I want to know how many of those I'm going to have in total. Well, 4 plus 2 gives me 6. So I have 6 r's in total. Now I'm writing an expression, so I have to have some kind of sign here in the middle. Well, 4 and 2 make +6. I'm going to put a plus sign in between them. And lastly, we have one more kind of term. Let me change colors one more time. I have +1. I have a +7. That gives me +8. Okay, so that's combining like terms. Say I have problems like I have over here on the right-hand side, where everything's not already spread out for me, and I actually have to expand the problem before I can combine like terms. In order to do these kinds of problems, you're going to have to use the distributive property. Well, the distributive property, basically, so if I have a problem where I have something on the outside of the parentheses and an expression on the inside, in this case, b plus c, to take what's on the outside, and I have to multiply it to everything on the inside of the parentheses. So I have to multiply the a to the b, and then I have to turn around and multiply the a to the c term in order to get this thing fully expanded. Let's look at this first example. I have 4 times 5 plus 2v, and I want to add to it 2 times v minus 3. I cannot put anything together until I fully expand it. So I'm going to start, I'm going to take that 4, and I'm going to multiply it to the 5. So 4 times 5 gives me 20. And then I'm going to multiply the 4 to the 2v. Well, 4 times 2v, so you multiply the 4 and the 2 together, it's going to give me 8v. And then I'm going to come over and do the same thing in the second parenthesis. So I need to take that 2. 2 times v makes 2v. Now it's positive, so I'm going to do plus. So plus 2v. And then I'm going to take that 2, I'm going to multiply it to the 3. I got to pay attention to that sign that's in front of it. So 2 times negative 3 gives me negative, so 6. Now we're at the point where we're looking to combine like terms. So let me change colors. All right, so I have looking for my variables to put together first. I have an 8v and I have a 2v. I put them together, both of those are positive. So 8v put together with 2v gives me 10v's. And then I can put together the 20 and the negative 6. So change colors. Oh, I didn't change colors. So I'll put together 20 and the negative 6. So 20 minus 6 is positive 14. Simplify this problem, and it's not fully expanded, so in order to simplify it, I'm going to have to distribute first. So I'm going to work my way from the left to the right. So I'm going to take this 3, multiply it to the 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And then take that 3 and multiply it to the negative r, which gives me negative 3r. And now I'm ready to go to the next set of parentheses. Well, this problem's a little bit different because I don't just have a 3 out here. I technically have a negative 3 because of that minus sign. So I'm going to distribute a negative 3 to everything that's on the inside. So negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. Negative 3 times 3r gives me negative 9r. And negative 3 times negative 2r squared. Well, negative 3 and negative 2 when multiplied together is going to make positive 6. And then it still has a r squared. Now we're ready to look to combine like terms. Well, scanning the whole problem, I see an r to the second power, and that's the only one I see that's like that. So there's nothing to combine the 6r squared with, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it down here in this line. There's nothing to put it together. No things put together to have r squared. Now we're going to look for r to the 1 power, just plain old r. I have negative 9r's there and negative 3r's there. So I put those together. So negative 3 minus 9 gives me negative 12. So I have negative 12 r's here. And last thing left is the constants, which don't have r's. I have positive 6 and I have negative 6. And I put them together. That gives me 0. So no need to write plus 0.